Hi folks, I'm Ralf Gauck and you're watching for bassplayersonly.com.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for bassplayersonly.com. We're coming to you today on location from the London Bass Guitar Show with our special guest, Ralf Gauck. How are you, Ralf?
Oh, I'm great, thank you.
We've kind of known each other online, and I think we've met a handful of times over the years.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I've had the privilege of sitting down with you in a one-on-one, face-to-face interview, so I'm really glad to be here with you.
Thank you so
And
much.
I've heard your music. I really like what you do, and if people don't know Ralf, you need to know Ralf because he's really quite a great player. You have a lot of recordings and you have quite a background, but let's hear it from you rather than me. You are from Germany. Tell us about your first exposure to music and how you became a bass player.
Well, actually I became a bass player because of Charlie Haden.
Really?
Yeah, this guy thrilled me from the very first note that I heard him playing, and still till today. He's my favorite musician. Everything I do on the bass is because of Charlie Haden.
I had the very special privilege of interviewing Charlie. It was a telephone interview. It was a couple of years before he died, and I'm very proud to have that interview up on forbassplayersonly.com.
You should be proud of that, man.
Well, go on.
Yeah, well, actually, it was a recording of Pat Metheny, the 8081, that I heard for the very first time solo bass playing. I mean, not solo like usually in a setting with a band or so. I mean, really a bass player by its own, nobody else on the stage. And this was on this recording of Pat Metheny that he played for a couple of minutes, and I was so thrilled about the sound, about everything. And
I remember that era very well.
and I did know I want to do that. That's my world. And
Do you play upright bass?
no, because I have a big handicap. I'm nearly blind on one eye, and I'm not able to drive a car. For this reason, I have to play an instrument that's a little bit smaller than a double bass. I played for many years acoustic bass guitars, and that is the way I got well known with this instrument. And actually this bass is my very first electric bass that I really play on stage.
Let's talk about this bass. This is your signature bass made by?
It's made by Franz bass guitars. The luthier is Xaver Dremel. He's a great guy. He made this one. And first of all, the sound and the touching is like my acoustic bass guitars. It's chambered. It has a custom-made pickup inside here, made by Rheingold Music. And I have only a tone control, nothing else, no volume. That's a tone control. I never used on my other electric basses that I had at home the volume control, so I said to Xaver, don't put it in, I never use it.
Wow.
And we have a little switch for just to adjust the setting of the room. That means I have a single coil setting, I have a humbucker setting, parallel serial, but the difference is really close. You don't hear a big difference in the sound because the sound is here from the fingers and the main sound of the instrument. So that is it, what he did. And I love the sound of the black nylon tape strings. They sound very smooth and fits, for my opinion, perfectly to the music so much that I do.
That's beautiful. They make, Franz has some really, truly beautiful instruments, and you must be proud to have your own signature bass.
Yeah, I'm absolutely proud because it's really a dream now for a guy like me traveling with a train, just traveling with such a wonderful instrument.
Tell us about the rest of your gear. What kind of amp do you play through?
Well, that might surprise a lot of people. I'm playing Phil Jones.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the surprise because it's a wonderful brand, but I'm playing...
And a wonderful guy, Phil.
Yeah, definitely. He's I have no words, sorry. But I'm playing the Double 4. That is a tiny little amp. It has about 7 or 8 pounds, you say in America.
Yeah.
And I use 2 of them, and I make a little PA setting of that because I'm mostly playing a solo concert, sitting down like Charlie Haden did it on 8081 and playing by my own, and that fits perfectly for my music.
I want to touch on some of the highlights from your career. When you said solo concert, you remind me of Michael Manring, whom I've interviewed a few times, and I know you've done some work with him.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
That happened in 2007 that we went on tour together.
I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Yeah, it's a long way ago, man. We were invited by a friend of mine. It's Sander Szabó from Hungary. He's a classical player, classical guitar player. He plays a lot of jazz and folk and world music. He's a fantastic musician, fantastic sound engineer. And he invited us. He played a baritone guitar, low instrument, and 2 basses on stage. And that was a thrill for the deep notes, you know.
I have to mention Sting, because I know there was an association you had with him.
Yeah.
Tell us that story.
Well, what happened was that I got a record deal because I wanted to make a recording with Sting and Police songs. And I had a company in Germany who said, "Oh, that sounds interesting. Your playing is great. Let's do that recording." But what you have to have when you record somebody's music, you have to have the permission to do that. And Amy, who has the rights of this music, didn't allow it to me. They said, "Oh, first you have to make 20,000 CDs before we give you the permission." And for a German guy, that's a lot, man. So I wrote Sting a letter, and we did send him over the recordings. And what happened was that after 2 weeks, I got an email by him personally that he liked the music very much and all the success he wished for that recording. And it was a very big success in Germany because I got a lot of prizes. I was 3 times in different years the best German bass player, voted in this way. Maybe you know in America the very well-known newspaper Die Zeit, it's very famous in the world, and they nominated it for the best recording of the year. And what I did with this recording, because it was a thrill to get the permission by Sting in person, you know, I went over to Norway because when I started listening to music, I began with Pat Metheny, Charlie Haden, so it was the ECM recordings.
Yes.
And when I began to make music, I had every time in my mind, one day I want to go over to this guy who made this recording, Jan Erik Hanshaug at Rainbow Studios. And that I did with this music. And it was really a thrill to record where all the greats had been there, like Keith Jarrett, like Charlie Haden, Gary Peacock, and, well, all these famous guys sitting on the same place where they had been. It was really a thrill.
That's got to make you feel good. What's keeping you busy these days, Ralf? What are you working on?
Well, actually, 2 weeks ago, I just released my new recording, and I'm writing a lot of books about bass playing, about fretless bass.
What is the name of the record?
The name of the record is Kopfkino. That is a German word that means cinema in your head. When you hear cinema in your head, a movie in your head, when you listen to music, sometimes you have pictures in your head. And I'm coming from the oldest city of Germany. It's called Worms, and we have a lot of historical parts. We have a cathedral that is more than 1,000 years old. What I did is I recorded Bach music on this CD along with the bells of this church. I went to the street to record the church and to put it together and to begin with some pictures in the music with your own head, you know.
Very authentic.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What about the future, Ralf? What else can we look forward to seeing and hearing from you? Is there anything that you'd like to do that you haven't accomplished yet that's on that list?
I'm a really happy man because I have a lot of great friends around me, wonderful players that I always wanted to play and I'm able to play around. For example, we have a very famous German guitar player, Klaus Böse-Ferrari. He was working with John Bass, and I'm working with him. I'm writing books, so the next book is coming out hopefully this year. You know that work very good, and well, to promote the new CD, to make it worldwide. You can order it in the internet and so on. So I'm working hard on that. I'm producing videos for companies, for gear stuff, but I also recorded the video for Igor Saavedra. It was recorded in my home as DVD.
I think of Igor Saavedra when you mentioned Phil Jones. Because I can't think of one without thinking the other. Igor's a great guy.
Well, it was him who brought us together, actually. And he introduced me to Phil, and all of that. It happened that I'm now a family member of Phil Jones' company.
Not a bad family to be a part of.
No.
Last question, Ralf. What would you be if you were not a bass player? Something outside of music.
Whoa, that's a difficult question. Music is, for me, like breathing, like speaking. Everything I do is because I began with music at the age of 6. And my parents didn't want me to make music as a profession. But I worked hard, not on music, on my parents, to make this profession, you know.
I'm sure you worked hard on your music too.
But that means music is my life. Everything I do is because of music. And
I'm sure you made your parents proud. Yeah. Well, congratulations on all your success and the new bass and the new record and the upcoming books, and be sure to keep us posted and we'll share that information with our audience.
Oh, thank you so much.
From the Franz Bass Guitars booth at the 2017 London Bass Guitar Show with Ralf Gauck, I'm John Liebman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.